Hello, welcome to the beautiful Aurora Riverfront Park, or the trail or whatnot. Yeah, so today I am here to just talk a little bit about my life update. I am actually leaving this area in like 3 days, and I quit philosophy. I quit philosophy academia, I quit philosophy grad school, just pursuing those kind of position, that kind of position. Why am I quit pursuing that? The reason is there are 4 major reasons, I would say. So I would try to go. I'll try to go through them like right now, briefly with you guys. So let me just start out with saying this quote of Brian May. He said he actually is. He's an astrophysicist who used to be, he still is, the main guitarist of the rock band Queen, He said that astronomy is way more fun when you're not doing astronomy professionally, so like as a profession. And that really resonated with me because I felt like philosophy no longer became fun when I was trying to pursue it as a profession. So yeah, number 1. Philosophy no longer becomes fun if you're actually being serious and trying to earn money from doing that. Because you have to be really serious about pursuing like philosophy in a way that would benefit your career. So you don't get to do any like stuff that you like, or you sometimes might have to do something that has a lot of money in it, or because you have to write the research grants or just proposals or just anything in that regard, in terms of wherever there's the most money in it. So like you can't really do much, and you can't really pick whatever you like in terms of the area that you want to focus on. So that I guess I did know that before, but it just hit me harder when I actually was in grad school, because it just seems that whatever I am interested in, not many people might be interested in that, so it can be hard to pursue whatever you are interested in if there's like not many people who are doing that. And also like a point that's related to that is that there's a certain amount of pressure in academia, so like you might have to be in this entire like constant grind mindset when you're pursuing a position in academia, because that's just what other people are doing. So like you might think you have flexible schedule, which you do, but you will have to be on all the time. Like you will feel guilty if you're not reading this article or book that other people are reading that like just came out, so you have to like read and write an article about, or if you want to get like a tenure position, you have to like write a lot and try to publish in like the reputed journal, and that process is just like the whole process of trying to get tenure or just trying to make it into the game, that I just didn't want to pursue that lifestyle. And of course for some people that lifestyle it works because they're that passionate about philosophy, but I think I reached the point where I don't want to do that anymore, sacrificing my lifestyle in favor of philosophy. So I guess something to do with academia, number 1, I would say. There's a lot more to talk about that topic, like in terms of like what is wrong with academia, but I'll just leave it out there for now. And I would say number 2 is definitely that I found that philosophy can be pretty repetitive, in my opinion. So because if you read a lot of the philosophy books or articles that you have to read in grad school, they're kind of the same thing all over again. And it's a bit of a revelation, because at first I thought like all these ideas were original and fun, and like they were just fun to read about and whatnot. But at some point I just realized like, wow, they're all kind of saying the same thing. They're just sometimes they're just talking past each other. Sometimes they're just, I don't know, I felt this the most actually when I was writing my senior thesis on truth-maker semantics. There were a lot of back and forth between the metaphysicians that I was trying to read and review, but most of the times it just felt to me like whatever they were saying, they were kind of saying like, oh, this assumption or this premise is wrong. And the other guys would say, no, this assumption of yours is wrong. And then the other guy would reply like, no, you're actually wrong. This assumption or this premise is wrong. And it never ends. I mean, like, to an extent, philosophy is a discipline where the dialogue never ends. So you can't really like think about what the actual answer will be to a question, because that's the whole beauty of philosophy for sure. But sometimes it just feels like there's just I just felt pretty weird about that, yeah, about the fact that like people will be talking past each other sometimes, and also just the fact that since a lot of what has been said, you can't really produce that much of an original literature or book or article or on anything, because yeah, a lot of the things that has been said has already been said, so you can't really yeah, so like there's not much gap to fill in, you know. That's I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Unless like there's this hot topic, for instance, the bioethics of COVID-19 or whatever. If that is a new field, then yeah, like there's going to be a lot of places where you can talk a lot of new stuff about. But in a traditional field like epistemology, metaphysics, like there's not going to be that much new stuff to talk about. So being original in philosophy, and also like being interesting or brilliant or whatnot, like pretty much making it as a good philosopher is going to be pretty much impossible. Which, I mean, you know, like it's not necessarily like a bad thing perhaps, but yeah, because some people might just be content with like being a philosopher in itself. But I don't know, that was just something that I observed. And the third reason was that it is extremely competitive. Oh my god, the philosophy academia is like extremely competitive. I mean, I already knew this before for sure, but it just happened to be even more competitive after COVID-19 hit, because the funding, let me change my holding arm real quick because my arm is kind of starting to hurt. But yeah, the funding in academia or philosophy academia just evaporated after COVID hit, because a lot of the funding went to STEM field or like the bio-related field. So philosophy was pretty much dead, or like any kind of humanities, honestly. Like, yeah, so it became more competitive, and I was actually able to experience this firsthand, because when I was applying to philosophy graduate school back in 2020, about that time perhaps to apply, there were a lot of graduate school that just outright said like, oh my god, we're not gonna accept anyone because we have no money, or we have no like spot for you. So yeah, there were a lot of grad schools that said that, and that meant that an already oversaturated and competitive field was even more oversaturated and more competitive. So that meant that like, yeah, like there were just like no spots left for anyone. So the acceptance rate was at all-time low. And of course I didn't get it. I didn't get into anywhere, and I applied to 20 plus places, which is kind of typical in my opinion, like to apply to that many places, but at least in philosophy. But yeah, so it's becoming a bit more and more competitive, and no one really knows what's going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years. But I just have a pretty pessimistic outlook on how things are going to go for philosophy, because whenever like a crisis hit, and whenever philosophy, like academia, got hit, it never was able to recover. Like, for instance, the biggest example, let me push my ending again. Biggest example is the 2008 financial crisis. Like, before that, philosophy academia was still pretty in a bad position, but it was in a relatively better position, and it just never recovered after that. So, you know, something like that's going to happen again. Yeah, so like, I am pretty sure it's not going to recover. Some people say like, oh, since a lot of the old professors are retiring, there might be some open spots. But no, if they retire, then that spot is just going to be filled by adjunct positions or like temporary part-time positions. The tenure track position is not going to be even like a viable option anymore to graduates, which is pretty sad, because first of all, like getting into like a good philosophy graduate school is really hard. Like the acceptance rate is around 1 to 2%, or like somewhere around the 1-digit rate, right? So like it is really damn hard to get into a graduate school to begin with. Let me try to take a U-turn here actually. And the second one is that like even if you do get into a philosophy graduate school, getting a job as a philosophy professor is a crapshoot, because for instance there's just going to be one spot for 200 applicants. Like, I'm not even making this up. Apparently in the 1990s, which apparently was a way better year for philosophy academia than right now, University of Colorado had like 200 applicants for one tenure track professor position. This is just from Mike Schumer's website. That's where I got it from. But I'll try to put a link in the description, because that I feel like is really good resource for those who are trying to get into philosophy academia. But anyway, yeah, so all those, and yeah, even if you get a job, getting a tenure is just, and after you get a tenure, what are you gonna do? Like, you're just gonna be burned out. Like, you're not even gonna want to do philosophy anymore. Like, your love of philosophy is just gonna disappear. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, so that's kind of the third reason. And the fourth reason is yeah, like, it's just not fun for me anymore. Like, what is the point of me pursuing philosophy if it's not fun anymore? Like, it stressed me out so much. My mental health was at all-time low this year, or like this academic year, because like I was just worried about what I should do in the future if I didn't want to do philosophy. So like I just have a feeling that I was in this kind of a path just because like I thought of pursuing this path before COVID. And after COVID, a lot of things changed actually. Like, my mindset changed, my outlook on life changed, a lot of things changed. And with that, I think my outlook on philosophy, or just philosophy academia in general, also changed. And just philosophy just didn't become that fun anymore. Like, I remember trying to read some philosophy books to prepare for my final paper while I was taking online courses, of course, back in 2020, and it was just extremely hard to prepare for that, because it was like, yeah, why? I didn't really feel like this is gonna help me, or just it wasn't really fun, because I had to like worry about my grades and all the stuff happening with like philosophy grad schools not accepting applicants, and everything and being in decline and whatnot. So it was just a stressful situation. And yeah, like a couple months ago or 3 months ago, yeah, I was like in all-time low, just because of all the stress coming from trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And it's just not fun anymore. And like the funny thing, an experience that I had that really made me realize that I should stop pursuing philosophy, or at least in academia, is that I tried to pick up a book that has nothing to do with philosophy, or at least like analytic philosophy. So I picked up a book called Either Or by Soren Kierkegaard, which I read back in 2019, and it helped me a lot actually in terms of trying to calm myself down and like being in the good mindset. So I picked that up again, and I started reading, and it made my mind, it soothed my mind and made myself calm, and it was just really fun reading it. And I didn't really feel any kind of pressure, because if you try to read philosophy articles or books for the purpose of trying to write a paper or essay, then it's bound to stress you out. Like, you have to think about criticism and objections and whether the argument makes sense or not. Like, you have to think about all of that. But when you're reading it for fun, you don't have to you don't have to think about that. You have to read it. You just have to read it and like think about, oh, this makes sense, and yeah, like I really resonate with this. Like, that's all you have to do. You don't have to think about how am I gonna write a good essay out of this book. So yeah, that that experience was really eye-opening for me, because it just made me realize even more that, yeah, this maybe isn't for me. Because the more I pursue philosophy as a profession, the more I come to hate it, which is sad. So yeah, I hope those 4 reasons made sense. It was a bit like, yeah, I had everything in my head. I didn't like, I don't have a script usually when I make videos, so I hope everything made sense. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like that was my short life update in terms of why I'm giving up philosophy. And so I'll briefly tell you where I'm headed. I might make another video on this, but I'm gonna move to New York City. I'm gonna pursue teaching mathematics to young kids, middle school. It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna be pursuing Masters of Education at University of Pennsylvania as well, concurrently, because the school is actually paying for the majority of the tuition, and it's gonna be like a part-time remote kind of thing. Sometimes I'll be taking classes on campus, but most of the time it's gonna be remote. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited for what's ahead of me, and that also means that I'll be able to do philosophy for its own sake instead of trying to do it for a profession. That means that I will be able to just read whatever I want, do whatever I want, write whatever I want, just in my leisure. And I honestly feel like that is the better way to pursue philosophy, instead of trying to make it into the abysmal reality of academia. That's just my humble opinion. Of course, some of you might disagree, but that's just how it is for me, and I'm pretty excited, to just do philosophy as I want to do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Maybe I'll vlog a little bit when I go to NYC, but oh yeah, I'm also visiting Korea this July, so I might make some video there. We'll see. We'll see. So exciting stuff ahead of me. Thanks for watching.